Good morning. Thank you, Radha. And I'd like to join my colleagues, Baroness Northover, Minister Brende, Minister Teta, and Kathy Calvin, the CEO of the UN Foundation, in this important event. I'd also like to recognize Janet McCabe, the Assistant Administrator for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. I know the Administrator McCarthy was here yesterday and able to describe the United States' commitment to this important issue. And I will have an opportunity to introduce Secretary Clinton when I'm through. I am thrilled to see so many distinguished leaders and committed advocates here today, calling attention to this absolutely critical issue. It illustrates, and this partnership is an example of how a vast array of partners, as Minister Brende noted, more than 1,000, can come together from business, from government, from civil society to do something that's really quite unique and extraordinary. It's an effort to try to improve the lives of the way more than 3 billion people produce food and deal with the natural resource consequences of the current system that really keeps people stuck, often in a condition of poverty or extreme poverty. This effort is important for human and health terms, as you have heard, as it affects people's access to health and their ability to survive. It's important in environmental terms because we know that 20% of black carbon emissions come from this way of cooking. It's important because the deforestation related to the use of wood for cooking is particularly hard for smaller scale farmers around the world to maintain productive lands and effective, sustainable production systems. And for all of these reasons, and as you know, Secretary Clinton helped launch this alliance 4 years ago. And at the time, we really couldn't imagine that it would become so big and so prominent, an example of success in this field. Today, local NGOs in Haiti join large international banks to make a difference in this effort. This alliance really is an example of the new model of development that Secretary Clinton championed as Secretary of State, with the beginning coming from countries that demonstrate leadership, as you just heard about what's happening in Ghana. It includes the power of the private sector and innovation, and today we celebrate all of the banking and other partners that are helping to provide private resources for this effort. And it includes support from across the United States government. To build on this incredible momentum, we're making a landmark announcement today that will transform our ability to attract private investment and top-scale science and technology to achieve this goal. Today, the United States is announcing a plan to invest up to $200 million to develop, scale, and test groundbreaking solutions in clean cookstoves. In doing so, we are marshaling the collective expertise and networks of the entire United States government. The National Institutes of Health will commit more than $30 million to rigorous study and analysis to understand both the consequences and the benefits of making this transformation. The Environmental Protection Agency will study the effects and the efforts to improve regulations on accelerating this transformation. The Centers for Disease Control will help understand how we can best save lives as we pursue this goal. The State Department, the Peace Corps, and USAID will work together to turn these scientific insights into real impact on the ground with a specific focus on women and girls. And our very own Development Credit Authority at USAID will help mobilize more than $125 million in private investment to power the cookstove industry as it transforms in more than 52 countries around the world. We're working with such a diverse array of public and private sector partners because that's what it's going to take to really achieve success at scale. And today, as part of our announcement, we would like to note 2 extraordinary and unique agreements that are helping our partners do just that. First, alongside Swedish SIDA, we are launching a $100 million credit facility to develop and deploy cutting-edge household technologies. Our partners include Alpha Mundi, the Calvert Foundation, and I know Jennifer Price is here, and Signina Capital, and I know Juliet Vartakar is here. These partners will provide subsidized lending to companies and small-scale enterprises in more than 52 countries so they can produce solar lanterns, reusable water filters, and of course, clean cookstoves. Anyone seeking financing through this mechanism can reach out to the Alliance or to USAID missions in country, and we'll point you to where you can get a loan to power your business. But even as we focus on bringing accessible finance to consumers, we're equally committed to laying the foundation for vibrant local economies and attracting greater international capital. That's why we're going to work together to launch a second $100 million loan guarantee aimed to support seed local manufacturers and distributors specifically of clean cookstoves and the cooking fuels that they require. The European Investment Bank will join us along with Deutsche Bank and Bank of America as we put this guarantee together and help provide credit and capital at every step of the cookstove value chain, from sourcing raw materials for fuel to manufacturing new products to delivering technologies direct to the consumer. These examples just demonstrate a concept Secretary Clinton fought for as the Secretary of State, that unique partnerships, public-private collaborations, and a focus on the world's most vulnerable people can help transform the world we live in, and in doing so, can make America's foreign policy stronger and more effective, and make our country more secure. And so it is my honor to introduce Secretary Clinton. Now, it goes without saying that she is one of the strongest advocates of human opportunity and justice many of us have ever known, and certainly needs no introduction. But in the area of development, of working on behalf of people who are extremely poor all around the world, her legacy over decades has been absolutely extraordinary. She rebuilt and empowered America's development agency, USAID, as Secretary of State, fighting for staff and budgets and a new way of working and demanding greater accountability. She launched Feed the Future, a landmark agricultural program that helped 7 million farmers and last year moved 12 million children out of a condition of being hungry to a condition of being adequately nourished, not by giving out food, but by helping farmers produce more. And the Congress in both the House and the Senate on a bipartisan basis has introduced legislation to authorize this program. She hosted the Call to Action in Child Survival, which now has more than 140 countries committed to ending under 5 child mortality and saving the 6.6 million children who die of simple diseases, many of whom die because they're exposed to air pollution from poor ways of cooking. And she helped launch the U.S. Global Development Lab, was the inspiration behind it, allowing us to provide grants to innovative companies like BioLite, who has a cook stove outside where you can get your cell phone charged even as you're cooking. Her leadership is in no small part the reason we can sit here today as we go into 2015 and embrace the idea that the world can end extreme poverty once and for all by 2030 if we come together and aspire to achieve that goal. You all know she's one of the most well-traveled Secretary of States in history, I think probably the most well-traveled. But what you might not know is on every one of those extraordinarily busy trips, Secretary Clinton always took time to meet with women and girls, to do town hall events, and to explore how we could work on behalf of the most vulnerable people in every country she visited. It's a real honor for me to have the opportunity to welcome Secretary Hillary Clinton.